about the iron deficiency anemia. Okay, a few minutes ago I said the biggest complication of the surgery is ulcers and gastritis and things like that. Actually, neck and neck with that for complications is what we call iron deficiency anemia. Iron deficiency anemia. And it turns out, though, that iron deficiency anemia is common in Americans who don't have my surgery. Just like ulcers are pretty common. That's why you see the TV at night is advertising the purple pill and all that, because it's common. And it turns out iron deficiency anemia happens in about 3% of American women, and it happens about 5% of MGB women. Okay? The reason is that iron is hard to absorb in any case, but when you bypass that upper intestine, that first part of the gut, the duodenum and all, is where most of the iron absorption occurs. So the MGB makes iron absorption worse. Now it turns out, I mentioned women because most of our guys who have the surgery and most of the guys in America who haven't had the surgery do not have iron deficiency anemia. And the reason is because part of the reason for the iron deficiency anemia is the loss of blood during the menstrual cycle, because blood is iron. So men rarely get iron deficiency anemia with or without the MGB, and women commonly get iron deficiency with or without the MGB, but the MGB makes the risk worse. So number one for our patients who have iron deficiency anemia is we send them to the gynecologist as step one. Make sure that they've done everything they can to decrease menstrual blood flow. And some of our patients go on to have hysterectomies, but there are other things you can do, birth control pills and stuff like that, to decrease the amount of iron you lose every month. So we say that's job one, the first thing to do. Number two is that you could probably go to your doctor and get a prescription, or you could go to Walmart and buy iron. But there's a trick to that and some new research on that. If you get a prescription, most doctors will prescribe something called ferrous sulfate or ferrous gluconate. And that's an iron ion linked to another atom. And it turns out when that goes into your gut, it dissolves, but then you're left with a fluid filled with iron ions. And that is hard to digest and absorb. On the other hand, if we were to eat a steak, the iron in the steak is bound in hemoglobin molecules, like in your blood. That makes an iron wrapped in a molecule easier to absorb. Your body's made to absorb that. So we could tell you, eat 10 steaks a day. That's hard. So some specialists said, why don't we make iron and wrap it in a little bit of protein? And they have done it. And you can buy it over the counter, you can order it on the internet, and it's called Proferrin, P-R-O-F-E-R-R-I-N, Proferrin. And it's available from Colorado Biolabs. Now, that may sound good, but what's the science behind it? Can you prove this, Dr. Rutledge, that this is so good? And what they did is they said, how can we test this? We think this is much better oral iron than the other iron tablets your doctor has prescribed to you. Like, your doctor's prescribed you some iron?
I just get, my ferritin was so low when they discovered it, I went right to the hematologist and they
gave you the IV?
Yeah, and it's no problem to go get an IV.
Okay, but they don't give you any oral iron at all? Okay, because it doesn't work very well, so.
Yeah.
But, so you got IV iron.
Yeah.
Do you know that there's another group of people who are getting anemic every day? And they constantly have to give them IV iron. Those are people on dialysis. Because every day they stick a needle in, they drain out all this blood, it goes through the dialysis machine, comes back, and they don't always get all that blood back. So every day, or every 2 days, they're throwing away iron from their bloodstream. And a dialysis unit is filled with people getting IV iron. So the people at the Colorado Biolabs took their Proferrin and said, let's stop giving these dialysis patients IV iron and see if the tablets can replace it, and they did for 90% of their patients. So this tablet is almost as good as the IV. So we recommend this hot new research, Proferrin,
By Colorado Labs.
by Colorado Labs. If you just Google it,
Yeah.
you'll get Proferrin, and we also send out emails every once in a while about it. And in dialysis patients, it was tremendously effective, and a lot of my patients have been able to not have to go back so often for their IV iron. Nothing wrong, like you say, with IV
Yeah.
iron, but it's much easier to take a pill. So that's kind of the hot new research in there.